All right, everybody. Welcome to Cali Cat Tap Talks. And I have Mike and Kris here. And I want to personally thank you guys for hopping on here to tell your story, to tell your journey on how you guys got started with Designated Drinks. And how did you come about it? And what inspired you guys?
Well, thanks for having me, Kathleen. It's super cool that a Canadian and a Californian can have a little chat. But what got it started? So I was a pretty good drinker, loved drinking beer, and it got to the point where it became a bit of a problem, and so I had to quit. Right, so I quit cold turkey, stopped drinking, but I missed it. I missed the social part. I missed like the almost like the ritual of having a beer after work type thing. And one day, so I was just drinking coffee, pop, water, that type of stuff. And one day, a package arrived, one of those what the meal packages, Hello Fresh they call it here in Canada, and it had like a can of non-alcoholic beer in it. And at the time, Kris was still having beer. She wasn't much of a drinker, anyways, but she was still having beer. It was a nice day, and she's like, "Why don't you try?" I think it was a Heineken.
Yeah,
Well,
Yeah,
Heineken Zero.
Heineken Zero.
Yes,
yes, it was
yes.
a Heineken Zero, and I was a little bit apprehensive. I was a little bit scared, right? Because you read about how non-alc can trigger stuff, and I was living my best life, and I just didn't want to like poke the bear. But ultimately, I cracked it open. I had a sip, and I had that eureka moment, right? I'm like, oh man, I'm back, right? And so had that beer, and Kris and I went outside. It was a beautiful day, whatever, and I'm like, I think I can do this. And so then it sort of triggered a bit of a hobby almost, right? Where I kind of search out these, and at the time there wasn't much to choose from, but it 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 was sort of like a quest to find the best non-alc beer. Fast forward to Christmas that year, and you might as well.
Yeah. So we were having trouble finding it. So he discovered a couple really good craft non-alcoholic beers, which opened up a whole world of wow, because we didn't know that existed. But they were really difficult to find. You could find them sometimes in small markets around the city, but it was hit or miss. So a family member at Christmas suggested that we start a marketplace online, and we had some online experience with another business we had started. And so I thought it was crazy. I had no idea how we were going to ship beer in a box. Beer's heavy. It was didn't seem possible at the time, but we tried it. We reached out to a few breweries across Canada that we knew were making non-alc, but didn't have their non-alc beers in grocery stores. And so we reached out to them, had them send us some stuff, and started just marketing a little bit online and started an online store. And it kind of exploded, to our surprise, because at the time I said, there's no way we're going to fill a warehouse full of this stuff because you might be the only person that drinks it.
Yeah.
And this was 3 years ago, which doesn't sound like much, but in the non-alcoholic world, it was huge. It has come so far in just 3 years. So at that time, everybody thought we were crazy. People weren't talking about non-alc like they are now. And so that's how it started. And we started in a very small storage unit, because we had to have a loading dock for the breweries to bring the beer in. And then within a year, I think we moved 7 times just within that unit because we kept growing and growing and growing. And after a year and a half, we moved to a warehouse space, and it's just grown from there. So now we ship non-alcoholic beer all over North America every day.
Wow, that's pretty cool. I know
Yeah.
as a beer head,
Yeah.
January, like dry January, to go
Yes.
and experience the different ones. So yeah,
Yes.
that's pretty
Yes.
cool. I like the
Yeah.
non-hazy IPAs. If I can find a
Yes.
real good non-hazy IPA, then I'm gold.
I agree.
We,
I find that the hazy, like, it kind of ruins it a bit. I like a clear, crisp IPA. They're delicious.
Yeah. Okay, so What's been the biggest surprise in your journey? What's your good, bad challenges? What can you, in
The,
your position of learning and experiencing and growing, what can you tell everybody so they can learn from you guys?
so one of the biggest surprises for me was I thought, truthfully, wholeheartedly, we'd be marketing to people like myself, sober, dry, like no booze. And what happened, and we learned this really, really quickly, was non-alc appeals to the masses. So there's a number floating around: 80, 85, 90% of people who drink non-alc beer and spirits and stuff and wine, they also drink alcohol. So it won't. And what was interesting was it's not really a market that's designed to cancel out beer. Like that Saturday afternoon beer drinking fest, um, not out that like that will still be in the alcohol world. But what I noticed was kind of the Sunday night, the Tuesday at lunch, the Wednesday, like all those off times where people don't necessarily want to party, quote unquote. That's where we find that the customers enjoy the non-alc world, and that was a huge one, right? Because the people who are in recovery or who are completely dry, that it's a smaller population of people compared to good old-fashioned beer drinkers, right? So that was sort of the catalyst.
Yeah, that our market is not just people who have quit drinking. It's actually the majority of our customers are people who drink and they're just trying to cut back on alcohol. So that was a huge surprise, we were marketing to and who our customers would be. And then business wise, I'd say one of a large surprise is it's not, Mike always says, and he's better at trusting in this, is that starting a business is not a sprint, it's a marathon. And it doesn't happen overnight. You think you're going to put your website up and you're just going to have,
Lauren?
yeah,
Yeah,
so
you're
many
going to be
sales.
a millionaire, like out of the gate.
Yeah.
Yes.
And it's not like that. It's a long game and you learn so much every day and have to change things as you learn things. And yeah, so I think those two things are huge lessons that we've learned in the last 3 years.
Yeah, so Chris is like a FOMO child, right? So she has this fear of missing out, and I always have to say, like, patience, patience, patience. Like, just trust it, it'll be fine.
Yeah.
Um,
Like
and
trust the
it's
process and be consistent in it, right?
100%.
Yes,
Yes.
yes, yes, for sure.
So how
And
do you define community in your space and why is it so important?
so I posted a video. It was in the fall, actually, where I did one of those ones where I went to a park and just walked around with my camera and talked into it. And, you brainstorm and you think about it. One of the coolest parts of this job, being a founder, being an owner, is honestly talking to the people and hearing their stories. Some of them are really cool. Some of them are like really awesome, and some of them are kind of sad. Some of them are desperate, right? We've had people um, call us and kind of bring up the fact that they quit drinking 2 days ago, type thing. And we have to kind of tell them that, hey, listen, this isn't really the cure. Like, you got other stuff going on. So the community, it's rewarding. It grows every day. You hear all sorts of
Wise.
yeah, the whys. Like,
Everybody's why, and I feel like in this community especially, that's the why is what connects everyone. So everybody has a story for
Mhm.
why they're drinking non-alcoholic drinks. I think whether it's for your health or your family or you have a drinking problem or whatever it is. And so that has been what is one of the coolest parts of this doing this, which I don't think we knew that it would be so much of the job, is hearing people's story and sharing our story. So that's been a journey for us too. It was a hard story to share in the beginning. You know, you don't necessarily want to put your dirty laundry out there, and there's a lot of shame that comes along with drinking and mental health and all of that. But the reward that we have got from sharing that story, and the, just having people thank us for, giving them hope or making them feel like they're not the only ones, or whatever it is, has been by far the biggest reward, and does make us feel like part of a community. The non-alcoholic world is a community, and the cool thing is it's a very new community and industry. So we've got to know the owners of the breweries and their story for why they started making non-alcoholic beer, and they all have one, because you don't get out of the alcoholic world just because. There is always a reason. And so that's been really neat. You work with a lot of the owners and not just sales reps, because it's still so new, and a lot of the breweries and companies involved are still small business. So that part has been really awesome as well.
Mm-hmm.
And that's cool. That's how I got started with Cali Cat Tap Talks. I'm always talking about beer, reviewing beer, you know, uh, just learning it on my own. And then somebody says, "Why don't you go behind the scenes?" And I
Yeah.
said, "Oh, nobody wants to go behind the scenes." So then I started going behind the scenes, and people are saying yes. And now I got to trust the process.
Yes.
Yeah.
And
It's hard some days.
yeah,
Yeah.
it's very hard. Learning everything step by step by step, doing it on my own, and then people now want to chime in to help me out. So it's a great community. It's a great community.
Mm-hmm.
Yes.
Um, but back to you guys. I really appreciate you guys being on. So, what was one of the moments where you knew you were truly making an impact?
Well, at Christmas, um,
Yeah,
there
this is
customer
a cool one.
a customer showed up with a gift for Mike, and Mike wasn't home at the time, and showed up at our house with a gift to say thank you for how grateful he was for the time Mike had taken to talk to him on the phone. So Mike is really good. The phone number on our website actually goes directly to his cell phone. And so he gets a lot of calls from people, asking questions and wanting to talk about beer, but also wanting to talk about their journey and their story. And this particular customer was just so grateful that he had taken the time, and how wanted us to know how much.
He drove 2 hours.
Yeah,
He
yeah,
drove two.
Wow.
Yes,
yeah.
him and his wife drove 2 hours. They went to some specialty candy shop in London and bought us this. And so we have two daughters, and this gentleman showed up with this giant thing of candy, and my kids were just like over the moon. They thought so. They always make fun of us for what we do. But when people show up bearing gifts, like Designated Drinks customers show up bearing gifts, it was pretty cool. Like
Yeah.
it was
Yeah, so that kind of thing, and we get, lots of emails as well, just kind of thanking us for, providing a selection of non-alcoholic drinks, so that now they can have them, or their family member who's, going through cancer treatment or whatever it is, has something to drink as an option.
yeah. So we started the business in like March, and like March of 2021. But anyways,
22.
the first summer, I got an email from a lady whose husband was a huge beer drinker, life of the party, and got diagnosed with some sort of cancer. He's fine now, but the first thing typically that the doctors say when you're sick is you got to quit drinking, or pause drinking. So she reached out to me, was completely new, and told her story about how her husband loved drinking beer, and we kind of scratched that itch. And throughout the last few years, she will check in every 6 months. We'll get an email from her, just updating, like seeing how we're doing. How oddly enough, like their life is fine, but they check in to make sure that we're still going, still in business, that type of stuff. And like it's the little things, right?
Yeah.
Like
Yeah. So, and that, I don't think going into this, we didn't foresee that kind of interaction. Like the emotional side of the business, we didn't see being such a large part of it,
Yeah.
but it is a really large part of it. And because everyone has an emotional relationship, some sort of relationship with alcohol, whether it's good or bad or whatever it is, alcohol is a funny thing that way. And so, yeah, we didn't see how much of an impact that would have.
That's pretty cool. And you're
Hmm.
right. In college, when we were taking all the shots and going all
Yes.
crazy, it has some type of impact,
Mhm.
Yeah.
regardless of what the outcome was.
Yes.
Yeah.
And what advice would you give to someone wanting to create a purpose-driven brand? Because there's a lot of people out there looking at people. They go online, they seek them out, and they
Yep.
try it. It doesn't work. What advice would you give? What's your hindsight?
So my hindsight is you have to believe in what you're doing, love what you're doing, or like believe in what you're selling, love what you're selling, and just stay consistent. Like the first couple of years are tough. Like
And tell the truth.
yeah.
So you pick up like a brand, it has to be, you have to be selling something that you genuinely believe in and
Mhm.
that it's all truthful. And I think that that's why we have been successful and we've been able to build this and grow this, and it's continued to grow because it literally saved our life and our marriage and our family. It's seems like a simple product, but it does make a difference, and we believe in it. Everything we say is true. Our story is true, and we built a business on something that affected our life in a good way, and thought, oh well, maybe there's other people that want to try this or would like a large selection of non-alcoholic drinks. Or so I think truth is so important, and being genuine and what you're selling, you have to believe in it, because people can see right through you if you don't.
Hmm. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, I
Quickly, they'll
agree.
see through you quickly.
Yeah.
I
Yeah.
totally agree. So, what are your goals or hopes for the future of designated drink?
At, at, at a at a macro, I'm gonna take over the world. On a micro, I hope we meet payroll on Friday. No, my goal is to um, first leave a legacy where I can be, or this brand can be remembered as something special, some like a pioneer, a leader, um, a company that did a lot of good for a lot of people. So that's at the very top, right? Um, in the middle, growth, success. As of yesterday, we expanded to Western Canada, which is a really huge moment for us. So like continue um, allowing people to access our products, that type of stuff, and then
And new products, growing our
and
selection.
and then at the bottom, like for us, it's to show our kids what hard work can bring. It's what it shows our kids, like you can kind of do anything or try anything, and it might fail, and that's okay. But like those three tiers are sort of what my ultimate goals are, right? Like,
Yeah. Yeah. We getting into our own business and doing our own thing also allowed for flexibility with with time, with our schedule. So that is important. We've been able to, incorporate family work. When you own your own business, it's a lot of work and a lot of hours, but you can pick when you do your work. And so yes, we work on the weekend, but if our kids have a hockey game, we can go to the hockey game whenever the hockey game is. So flexibility in a schedule. And yeah, teaching our kids that there's good days. It's like owning business is like this. Like there's really good days where you're like, this was the best idea ever.
We're rich. We're rich.
And then they also see days where it's not the best idea ever, and we maybe made the worst decision ever.
They're called tuna days.
Yeah.
Where you make enough to buy a can of tuna.
Yeah. So yeah, it's and the fun. We've been able to have a lot of fun together doing this. There's something to be said when you build something by yourself, and every sale that comes in, we're like, wow, we created this. Like somebody on the West Coast just went on our website and bought a whole bunch of beer from us because
they trusted us.
Yeah.
They trusted us with their money, which is really, I mean, people don't really look at that at a granular level, right? Where when somebody trusts a small business, a small company in London, Ontario, compared to trusting Amazon or Walmart or Target or whatever those big reputable brands are. So that's sort of rewarding. It's sort of a pinch me moment, right? So
Mm-hmm.
So that's pretty cool. So what is your most selling designated drink?
Oh, that's the famous question that everyone asks. And
I missed it.
like the best-selling drink.
Oh, the best-selling drink.
Yeah.
Oh, wow. Huh.
Yeah.
Does
See,
it
that's a
depend on
tough
the
one because,
season?
What is
Like,
it?
is it
well, our party packs are best-selling
Yeah.
product. So we came up,
Hands down.
the first product we came up with was the designated drinks party pack, which is 24 different non-alcoholic beers.
So Kathleen, I have to mention to you and the audience, non-alc beer, you drink it differently, right? So when you drink regular beer, which I have drank a ton of, probably a swimming pool times 15 of beer, you drink it differently. So as you kind of go through that flight of like craft beer, your senses get a little bit numb, right? So by the time you're done that flight, you're kind of going and you're
Because of the alcohol, you don't taste it as much.
Yeah. So
but you don't get that with
what I noticed, what I like at the very very start was you have one or two of a certain brand and you get kind of bored of it, right? So we created the party pack and it's 24 different beers.
Yeah.
And so that is by far the juggernaut bestseller by 100.
And it's the best place to start too if you've never tried it.
So it's always flattering because new breweries will approach us and say, like, how do we get in the party pack? Because I think word gets around, right? Yeah. But when Guinness first came out, it really spiked in Canada, like the Guinness Zero. Mm-hmm. It really spiked, and then now it's flattened out. Sober Carpenter is a big seller, like kind of their West Coast IPA, which by the sounds of it you like.
Harmon's,
they're a good seller.
One for the Road is also a West Coast brewery, and they're big.
Yeah, they're big. And so as far as in Collective Arts, they're doing well. Like on the
it's like
Perth Brewery. I don't know, Kathleen. I don't know the best.
I don't know. I'm trying to get Collective Arts. I'm surprised you said that. I'm trying to get them on on my talk show.
Oh, are you?
Yes. Yeah.
Yeah, we sell a lot of Collective Arts.
Yeah. I will. I'll reach out to them. Maybe I have some pull. You can get to talking to them. I don't know.
Oh, that'd be cool.
Yeah.
That'd be real cool.
Yeah, I can. I'll send some emails to some important people. Who knows? Who knows where it'll land?
I really appreciate that. And so my next question would be, what would you guys just tell young people out there going to college, about drinking alcohol versus drinking non-alcohol?
So our clientele, our customers are typically over 25. So that exploratory period, just enjoy it responsibly, because like
Yeah, like we certainly are not by any means against alcohol.
no.
We
Yeah, I
we
know.
we've drank a lot of alcohol in our
Yeah,
life, and we had a lot of fun drinking
yeah.
alcohol. But alcohol can also, it also caused us a lot of pain. So it's, you know, we would never say,
To the young people, I'll say eventually the hangovers will catch up to you.
yeah,
So enjoy it
That's a good one.
enjoy it while you're young, because once you tip kind of 30, 35, 40, the hangovers
well,
get
yeah,
nasty.
over
So
40, the hangovers are terrible. And that's where I think why we sell a lot of non-alc to drinkers, especially drinkers, you know, middle-aged people, because you can mix it in. And that's actually how I ended up. I don't drink alcohol anymore, but I never went into this planning to not drink alcohol. But when
Mhm.
we got into this world, I started drinking more and more non-alc, and I was getting very hungover after I turned 40. My hangovers were terrible. So I just started incorporating one or two non-alc. So I would drink an alcoholic and then I would drink a non-alc. And I was finding that it was helping with the hangovers, and I wasn't feeling so bad. So that's what we see a lot of is our customers mixing it in. And yeah, so it made a difference for me. And then eventually I realized that I didn't need the alcohol, and so I don't drink it anymore. I just drink, we have such a selection that I don't miss it. But when you're young and, you know,
don't drink and drive, kids.
yeah, drink
Take a
safely.
cab, Uber.
Yeah,
Uber.
that's right.
Yeah, like and again, like at the core, and I remember vividly talking to Chris about this. I said to Chris, I'm like, I don't want to be an anti-alcohol company.
No, and we're not.
I don't like and like um
And alcohol is not going away.
no.
There's, you know, there's plenty of, you know, alcohol is always going to be there, and
Yeah.
plenty of room in the space for both non-alc and alcohol. So
I loved going to the craft breweries. I loved having craft beer. It just wasn't for me. You know, like it just wasn't it became not a great fit.
yeah, and we do notice that younger people, compared to our generation,
Yeah.
this next generation of young people, they are more aware of the health consequences, I think, of alcohol, and they do drink less, I think, than we did.
Oh yeah.
Or they're
They
they
drink
at
more
least
hot
know,
water.
you know,
I think it's
yes,
hot water. Yeah, hot water.
yeah,
Yeah.
Yeah.
yeah, yeah, yeah.
All right. I would like to tell you guys thank you very much for being on the Cali Cat Tap show. And is there anything else you would like to say?
Do you want to do the closer? I got this. All right. Well, thanks for having me. I hope we added some insight, some value to your podcast. I think it's super excited. The big thing with the podcast thing, what I've read is you just got to stay with it, stick with it, stick with it, stick with it, and I hope again we can bring some insight, some laughter, some positivity to what we do, what you do, and
Yeah, thank you so much.
yes, thank you so much.
All right. Thank you guys.